With towering skyscrapers lining the riverbanks, Shanghai could be a shrine to capitalism. The metropolis is China's financial center and one of its economic engines. But it's also where the Chinese Communist Party was born 100 years ago. In this small house, where a dozen young idealists met in secret for their first Congress. Today, it's a museum, and for the ruling party's now 90 million members, one of the many holy sites of the People's Republic of China. People have come from all over the country to visit, often booking tickets several days in advance. The site was renovated and reopened in early June by Shanghai's party secretary Li Qiang. One of the main attractions is the first Chinese translations of Marx and Engels' Communist Manifesto. A few blocks away, where security allowed us to conduct interviews, visitors heaped praise on the party that has ruled China for the past 71 years.
They have led us into a new world. For me and for the country, the party has put us on a more prosperous path.
The Chinese Communist Party represents a renaissance for us in the world. It allows the Chinese people to be respected internationally.
The party represents my mother. Without her, I wouldn't be here. And without the party, I wouldn't be here, and we wouldn't have this wonderful life.
In the lead up to the anniversary, Beijing has been hard at work, pushing the party-approved version of history. Spearheading this effort is the Chinese Academy of History. It was created 2 years ago by Xi Jinping in an effort to counter negative views of the party's past. Movie theaters, for instance, have been ordered to screen and promote at least 2 propaganda movies every week. And new films like 1921 are being added to the canon of Chinese patriotic pictures. The action-packed historical drama tells the story of the foundation of the party. For those who saw this early screening, the movie has achieved its goals.
I feel very lucky to live in China today, and I have a great deal of gratitude to those revolutionary martyrs who sacrificed themselves.
But while boosting the official story, authorities are also censoring other narratives. A new hotline allows citizens to report any instance of historical nihilism, such as online comments that attack the party's ideology and leadership or defame national heroes or martyrs. Historians we reached out to in mainland China and Hong Kong either refused or didn't respond to our requests for an interview. So we turned to Antoine Bondaz, a China researcher based in Paris, to explain this concept of historical nihilism.
The objective for the Chinese political authorities is to impose their talking points. They want to impose their national story as well as their story of the party, whether it's at home or abroad. And so everything that doesn't fit in this narrative, anything that is beyond these talking points, will be considered to be historic revisionism, historic nihilism, and it will be punished as such.
But some are still willing to speak out. Wu Qiang is a political scientist who says he was dismissed from the prestigious Tsinghua University because of his work on Hong Kong's Occupy movement. Over time, he's seen how the party's history has changed according to who is in power. For instance, under the leadership of reformer Deng Xiaoping, the death and chaos of the Cultural Revolution were thoroughly examined and condemned. These criticisms have been erased.
The biggest change in this year's newly issued edition of the CCP's history is that it uses a nihilistic way to tell the story, especially for the part about the Cultural Revolution. It downplays the 10 years of disaster and turmoil brought by the Cultural Revolution in just 2 pages.
This particular revision of history suits Xi Jinping's tenure as leader, one defined by the lifting of term limits and a return to the kind of personality cult experienced during Mao Zedong's reign.
This is the new history of the party that people can learn now, and it's centered around the neo-Maoism of the past 9 years, which is referred to as Xi Jinping's thoughts on governance. This is the main narrative used during the party's 100th anniversary celebrations, and it therefore adds legitimacy to the present regime.
For the party, it would seem the purpose of history isn't to uncover the truth about the past, but to consolidate power in the present.